I remember watching that, and the year that that came out, I was a brand new mom. And I thought, this is so horrific, and this film will expose some of the weaknesses in our system and the things that need to change so that this never happens again. I thought that it was going to be a changing moment in our culture and our national consciousness, and it's heartbreaking to think of how much has not changed. In fact, how much has gotten worse in those 21 years, and it breaks my heart to think that the children in our schools, the individuals that work in education, the teachers, the aides, that parents have to fear that kind of terror every single day. And we hear it so often that it doesn't surprise us anymore, instead of making us angry enough to make change. I'm tired of hearing thoughts and prayers. We need action, and we need gun control. We need reform. We need reform. Because now, with the advent of ghost guns, we have to find other ways to achieve that. And we have to change our partnerships with law enforcement. We need to find a way to find a middle ground. They're not all terrible people. They are here to serve us, and we need to find that middle ground, because we will never be able to achieve a sense of safety without coming together.
Can you talk to me about where you were in your life when that movie came out?
When that movie came out, I was a student at UC Riverside, and I, again, was a brand new mom, thinking that my daughter has a whole life ahead of herself, and I want her to grow up in a world where she feels safe and healthy and happy. And it was heartbreaking, as my daughters have mentioned, that when they've known it's a live drill, that it is still something traumatizing. And how many times we had conversations and said, there's been an alert that someone is called in a threat to your school, and saying, I'm not going to force you to go. You're the one that needs to sit in class that day. You're the one that will feel safe or unsafe, and it's up to you. When we started having the free or reduced lunch program, it's because teachers said, if our children are hungry, they cannot learn. And now they are terrified every single day. So how do we expect them to learn?
Did you have any kind of experience on a campus, whether through your kids or yourself, when you were an educator, or even when you were a student?
While I was a student, we would have people have fights after school, and it would be sensationalized, and then you would talk about it. Wow, did you see this? And this happened. But when I started working in higher education, I recall one instance where there was a student who, in my opinion, posed a credible threat. And in the building where we were working, we did not have panic buttons. We did not have security cameras. So I had to devise an internal system to tell my coworker, when the student comes in, time it for 3 minutes and bring me a red folder and say they're waiting for you in the meeting, so that I could justify to that student that I had to leave, instead of making them angry that I was not going to do as they expected, which I could not do in the first place. In another institution where I worked, the same thing. We had to find creative ways to raise alarm with one another when we were separated in different parts of the building. So I recall saying, call someone and say, Eddie Roberts is on the phone. So it would be ER, and we would know that there was an emergency without raising alarm. And these are the things that we have to do to be creative, but it's a shame. It's a shame that we thought we were going to come so far, and ghost guns only make things more terrifying. So we need to empower communities to have change. We need to do this with sensible gun reform, and we can't go back. We can't go back. We've got so many schools that are having lockdowns every single day. Every single day. That is not only unreasonable, it is cruel to have our children growing up in these circumstances. And we say the children are our future, but we're not doing enough to protect them.
And then finally, we've gone through a lot in this country with a pandemic, and mental health is becoming more of an issue, which just helps make this problem even more dangerous. Can you talk about what you see from where you're at about this?
Absolutely. There's Clearly, the pandemic stressed a lot of our resources thin. We've seen it in a lot of different fields. We've seen it in education, and in particular, students are stressed. Students are stressed, faculty is stressed, and so when we see this happening in higher education, where people feel when people feel that their careers and their futures are on the line, it makes them more volatile. And when we've got changes in Medicare and mental health services, it makes it more likely that things are going to have a violent outbursts in individuals that don't want help, can't afford help, or have not overcome the stigma that says it's okay and we need you to get help because your brain is part of your body, and somehow people don't think that they need to take care of their mental health as well.
So Michael Moore will be there on a simulcast. If you get a chance to meet him and talk to him, what would you ask him or what would you say to him?
I would ask him how he feels when he watches news of another school shooting. I would like to know his comments on Uvalde, because that's, I think, one of the more tragic situations where we've heard of so many times that kids have texted their parents, "I love you," because they know that that may be their last day. So how does he feel about the way that things have progressed, knowing his full intention to do good and where we are as a nation now?